Hello, everyone. My name is Kenton Kovescu. I'm an ex-BCG consultant, an ex-Googler, and the founder of Rocketblocks, an online platform that helps candidates prepare for interviews. Today, we have an awesome Rocketblocks mock interview coming at you. It features two of our Rocketblocks experts, Matthew Calvert, who is an ex-BCG consultant. He also worked in the U.S. House of Representatives. He's going to be playing the role of the interviewer. And our candidate is Daniela Fernandez. She is a former BCG summer intern. She's returning to BCG, and she's a graduate of the Darden School of Business as well. And she's going to be playing the candidate. The case is a really fun and challenging case where a private equity firm is thinking about buying a professional sports teams. So lots of fun things to consider. Let's go ahead and jump in.
Hi, Daniela. I'm Matthew Calvert. I'm really excited to be doing this case with you today. A little bit about me. I was a consultant at BCG in Chicago for 2 years. Now I'm working at Kairos Aerospace in the climate tech space as a director of methane results. Love to hear a little bit about you, and then we can jump into the case.
Hi, Matt. Great to meet you. I am Daniela. I'm originally from Mexico. I am currently a Darden MBA, and after the MBA, I'm going to actually BCG Chicago as a consultant.
Awesome. Okay. Are you ready to get started on the case?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so our client, Alpha Capital, is a private equity firm that is considering buying the Philadelphia Phillies, who are a baseball team. The current team owners approached Alpha about purchasing the team for $1.1 billion. Alpha engaged our firm in the due diligence process and wants us to help them understand the following. A, what is the team worth? And B, should they make this investment?
Awesome, interesting. I think I should start learning more about baseball now that I'm moving to Chicago, so this should be cool. Just to recap and see if I had everything correct, we're talking about Alpha Capital, a PE firm considering buying Philadelphia Phillies for $1.1 billion, and they want our help to see if they should make this investment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. All right, so I would love to ask you a couple clarifying questions, if that's all right, before jumping into it. So the first one is, what is the goal of this deal? Is it directly related to the investment, or they just want to get into the sports market?
That's a great question. So Alpha Capital wants to maximize the value of their investment. That's really the most important thing. And you can also assume that the leaders of the fund are filled with really big baseball and Phillies fans who want the team to be successful.
Perfect. Okay. And then my second question is, how does the team work? What's their business model?
That's a great question. I'd love to hear some ideas that you think on how a sports team will make money.
Okay. I think they must sell tickets. They must sell merchandising. Maybe they sell some of their media rights. Also, I've seen there's a lot of like player trading. So maybe buying and selling players. Is that right?
That's a good idea. That's more of like a soccer model where you can buy and sell and transfer players. But another way that they make money is off of concessions. And so you can think about selling hot dogs and beers and French fries and things like that. And another one would be advertising and sponsorships of the team.
Perfect. All right. That's good. And my last question is, how is this purchase playing within the fund? Is it part of an existing fund or is it a new one?
For this case, you can just assume that it's a brand new fund. There's no hold period constraints or previous investments to worry about.
All right. That's helpful. Perfect. So if you don't mind, I would like to take a couple minutes just to think through this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in order to determine if this is a good investment, I would love to take a look into 3 different things. The first one is Phillies profitability. The second one is regarding Alpha and their capabilities. And the third one is regarding the sports market and other general considerations. So going to the first one, Phillies profitability, here I am thinking of 3 things: revenues, costs, and synergies. For the revenues, as you just mentioned, I am considering tickets, concessions, merch, media, sponsorships. For costs, I am thinking of maybe the player salaries, admin costs, stadium costs in case we're like licensing or the maintenance of the stadiums, and also COGS. And finally, for synergies, I would like to know what's the expectation of revenue increase or cost decrease in case we did this purchase. Moving on to Alpha's capabilities, here I would love to know about the teams. So do we need to hire new management to deal with this? Or what's the industry, what's the expertise in this sports industry of the current team? And also about the money, do we have access to capital to purchase a team, or also what's the ability to really achieve these synergies that we are looking at? And finally, in the sports market, I would like to know just first, what's the reactions? I'm thinking of the team. Will there be tension in this transition? The fan base, will they still like the team? The league, other teams' reactions, etc. Then you have also got me thinking about baseball. I've seen that there's been lately some changes in the rules to make it more appealing to younger people. So I would like to know, how is this really working? Are young people interested? Is it growing, decreasing, and what are the risks? And finally, just opportunity costs. If we didn't spend the money here, where could we spend it? So this is like the brainstorming that I did. I would love to start with revenues and costs to understand profitability. And then from that, I think I can evaluate if the team is worth the 1.1 billion they are asking for. How does it sound?
Sounds great. That's a very solid framework. I'm glad you brought in that relevant information about how baseball's changing.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel it's a very dynamic moment for that sport. So to start with this, I would love to know if you have any information about revenues. So how many tickets do we sell, prices, etc.
Absolutely. So I'm going to rattle off kind of a bunch of information to you here. Okay. If at any point you need me to repeat it, just let me know. Awesome. So the Philadelphia Phillies Stadium has 50,000 seats. And the standard of those 50,000 seats, about 90% of those seats are what we consider standard seats.
Okay.
Those are filled on average 55.56% of the time. And the average price of those tickets is $25.
Okay.
The remaining seats, premium seats, those make up the additional 10%. Those are filled 75% of the time. And their price is $100 per seat. And there's 80 home games per season. And so that's all the ticket information. Would you like the concession information as well?
Yeah, let's get it. And then I'll just repeat some things to confirm.
Great. For the concessions, 20,000 fans buy something per game. And they average spending $25. And you can assume, again, that there's 80 home games per season.
All right. Good. Okay, so I guess I can move forward with this information, and then I'll ask about the other revenue streams. Just to confirm the tickets, we have 50,000 seats in the stadium. 90% are standard seats, 10% are premium seats. The standard seats are filled at 55.5%, and the price is $25. And the premium seats are filled at 75%, and the price is $100. Does this sound right?
That's great.
Okay, perfect. And for the concessions, we're just considering 20K fans buying per game, and they average spend $25. Okay. So I would love to calculate the revenue for ticket sales and for concessions. First, for the ticket sales, I will calculate the standard seats. So we have 90% of the 50K are standard seats. So that would be 45,000 seats. And from this 45,000, 55.56 are filled. Can I round this number?
Sure.
right. So this would give me, if we round it, this would give me around 25K. And if each of these seats we sell them at $25, the revenue for standard seats is $625K. Now, moving to the premium seats, we have 10% of the 50K are premium, so that would be 5,000 seats filled at a 75% rate. That would be 3,750 seats filled. And from these, each of these we sell them at $100. So the total revenue for premium is $375,000. Okay, so if I add up 625,000 plus 375,000 from the two types of seats, it will give me $1 million as revenue per game. But then you mentioned we have 80 home games per year, so that'll be $80 million from ticket sales. And then moving on to the concessions, we have that 20,000 fans buy per game, and each spend $25. So if I multiply that, it would be 500,000 times the 80 home games that we have. That will give me 40 million. Okay, so we have 80 million for ticket sales, 40 million for concessions. But at the beginning, we mentioned that we also have like merch, media rights, sponsorships. Do we have any information about these?
Great question. So for merchandise, they sell 1 million items per year at $50 per item, and the team keeps 20% royalty on total sales. For the media rights, they sell local media and national media. The local media is 40 million, and the national media is 80 million. And for the sponsorship ads, they sell $50 million per year.
Okay, perfect. So for merch, you said 1 million items per year at $50 each, and we just make 20% of this. So that would give me, if I multiply all these numbers, 10 million for merch. Then for media rights, I think you mentioned it's 40 million for local media and 80 million for national media. If I add these two together, is 120 million. And for sponsorships is 50. Okay, so now that I have all the revenue streams, I would like to add them all up together. So for ticket sales is 80 million plus 40 million from concessions, plus 10 million from merch, plus 120 million from media rights, plus 50 million of sponsorships. This gives me a total revenue of 300 million. Does that sound right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, now, because I want to get profitability before evaluating, I would love to know if we have any information about costs.
Great question. So we have 4 cost categories that we're considering here.
Mm-hmm.
The player salaries is 110 million. The front office and management costs is 20 million. Sales and advertising is 50 million. And our stadium and facility costs are 20 million.
Okay, just to clarify, this stadium costs encompasses all 80 games, home games, right?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. So then to get the total cost, I would just add up all the numbers that I just wrote down here. So it's 110 plus 20 million plus 50 million plus 20 million. That gives me 200 million for costs. Okay, so now that I have revenues and costs, I think that I can get the valuation. Just want to ask, what's the discount rate we're considering?
For this, you can assume it's going to be 10%.
Okay, cool, perfect. So 300 million revenues minus 200 million costs that gives me an EBIT of 100 million. Sorry, are we considering any tax rate?
No, we can assume $0 in taxes.
Zero taxes. Okay, cool. So then if I divide this 100 million over the 10% discount rate, I will get a valuation of 1 billion. So this 1 billion seems to be a little bit below the valuation that they gave us of 1.1 billion. But I think that we could either negotiate it down or include some of the synergies that I had considered in my initial framework regarding improving revenues and reducing costs. So I would like to know if you have any information about synergies that we can consider.
Yep, that's a great question. So I'm going to go ahead and share something with you now. Great. So here's some information on the synergies that we have.
All right. So I see that we have considerations for both revenues and costs. In the part of revenues, it seems like the biggest improvements that we can get come from implementing a dynamic ticket pricing and renegotiating local media deal. This one, I think it seems riskier, but I trust this projection. I think that we can also boost sponsorships and concessions. That's good. And we would only leave merch out, right, as it is right now.
Yeah, that's
okay.
These are all the ones that we've seen.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. And then from the cost side, it seems like the only one that we can improve really is sales and advertising by around 10 million-ish. Okay. So what I would like to do now is to calculate all this like extra money that we can get from synergies from both revenues and costs. So first, for the revenue part, I am thinking of adding up these percentages of synergies that we are getting, because I imagine we're getting it on top of the current revenue of 300 million, right?
That's right.
Okay, so then I would add up 4% for the tickets, plus 3% for media, plus 2%, plus 1%, that's 10%. So I will calculate 10% of the 300 million that we have today for revenues. That gives me an extra 30 million for revenues. And then for costs, it seems like we can only decrease it by 10 million. So that would also be some like extra money for our synergies. So if I add up 30 million plus 10 million, it gives me 40 million of extra money from the synergies. And then I will apply the same discount rate just to get how it impacts the valuation. So the discount rate is 10%. It will give me 400 million as an impact to the valuation. So if I add it up to the 1 million that we had initially, it will be 1.4 billion, the new valuation. So this one looks definitely better. I still think we could get some additional money from merchandising, honestly, if we innovated in products, etc. But we'll leave it as it is. So also I think there's other considerations, like going back to my initial framework. I would like to know about Alpha's capabilities. They have the money, if they have the teams, and also how will be the market reaction. And is baseball really the most attractive sport that we can invest on, or is this even the kind of industry that is worth investing on?
That's a great question. I think we're just going to focus on baseball here. It can be hard to find some of these teams for sales. And so you talked a little bit about some of these other considerations. What are some of the kind of things that you're thinking maybe about the management team or their ability to get the job done here?
So I think you mentioned at the beginning that the team is very excited about this because they're big baseball fans. So I'm a little bit concerned that the emotional attachment can be detrimental at some point. Also, I am wondering if there are any other bidders that are playing into this negotiation and like how the money that they're offering looks like. And about these other considerations, how about the regulatory part of it? How long is it gonna take? Are there any legal risks? Also, even like the team, would all the team agree on this, and would we keep all the players? And if not, what will be like the consequences of them leaving the team?
Yeah, these are really good things that we should consider. Well, Daniela, the MD at Alpha Capital is walking down the hall, and she wants to know what our initial finding and recommendations are. What do you tell her?
All right, so I think this is a good investment and we should go for it. We are valuating it in 1.4 billion and they're asking for 1.1, so that's good. If we consider revenues and cost synergies, so we should really implement these. There are still other considerations to take into account around capabilities, reactions driven by purchase, baseball market, etc. And as a next step, I'd suggest meeting with Alpha to have a clear understanding of how they will manage this purchase and how they will try to reduce the risk.
Awesome. Daniela, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Kenton Kavesky here, the founder of Rocketblocks. Thank you so much for watching this mock interview video. I hope you found it informative and helpful as you are getting ready to prepare for your own interviews and hopefully landing that job offer you are excited about. We have a ton of great content on the Rocketblocks channel coming out on a weekly basis, mock interviews, mini lessons, and chats with our Rocketblocks experts. So if you haven't subscribed yet already, please do so. There is a big red button below. And if you hit that, you'll get all of our content as soon as it comes out. Thanks for watching and have a great day.